Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you guys. Come on. Come on in. Hi, Joan. Good to see you. How are you? Sorry about the obnoxious noise. I'm sanding off some tags a little bit just to smooth them out that I gessoed. Hey, Starla. Hope this noise does not affect you guys too much. Anyway, come on in. Hi, Purple Nana Linda. Good to see you. Oh, Joan's full of cold. Oh, how miserable. That is just, I know, miserable. Yeah. Good to see you. Hi, Carol. I am recycling some clothing tags because I had a request to do something real simple since I didn't know what I was going to do today, or not a request, but a suggestion, which was a good one. Do something simple, something I've done before. And quite frankly, I didn't have time to look up something I had done before. So we're going to go for what was in front of me that was easy. So we will talk about it here in just a moment. I hope you all are doing okay today. Weird stuff going on in the world. But we're not here to discuss all that. We're here to get a break from all that. Okay? So that would be excellent if we could all do that. I will show you these in just a second and maybe stop the obnoxious noise. Yeah, the craziness is just about ready to begin. Although it's been going for a while, the Christmas crazies. But it's fixing to get real. Fixing to get real. Hey, Sharon. Good to have you here. Connie, good to see you. I'll look at the chat more closely here in just a second. I'm just trying to get these kind of sanded a little bit. I should have started on these like last night, but I didn't. I started on them today. Anyway, the potato head pincushion is finished. I'll show it to you here in a second. It went through a transformation, so hopefully it doesn't look like a potato head to you guys anymore. It did look like a potato slapped on a spoon. The funniest thing was when somebody said, and I don't remember who said it, everybody's afraid to tell her. It's like, tell me what? And then when I read the comment, I'm like, well, it does look like a potato. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that was pretty funny. But that's what was in the kit. So I was using what was in the kit. If I'd been thinking, I would have gone into my excess fabric, because I have a little bit, like a lot. I would have had plenty of fabric to do that. All right. So yes, it is, have any of you ever watched the movie Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter? Anybody? It is one of my, I would have to say, favorite movies, because it just is so it sort of takes all the crazy family drama from all kinds of family situations and puts them all into one. And I'm not kidding you. Every time I watch it, I can pretty much quote the movie. You know, certain lines from it anyway. There are parts of it that are offensive. So if you're easily offended, don't watch it. Don't. I'm not easily offended most of the time. I started to say I'm not easily offended, but you know, the truth is, sometimes we all get offended, don't we? Maybe we don't mean to, but it happens. Starla says, Starla son, she waited the whole stream and then she finally had to say it. It was true. It was nothing but the truth. It did look like a potato. But hopefully it doesn't look like a potato now. Anyway, so let's take a look at what I have going on here. And then I need to slap a coat of gesso on this one tag that's being kind of difficult to cover up. And then we'll take a look at the transformed potato. Okay, pardon my absolutely filthy, crazy mat. This is a Tim Holtz. It's a Ranger mat, nonstick, and but I've used it so much that it is pretty much destroyed. Anyway, what I have are clothing tags, and I have taken white gesso and I have coated both sides, and I've used this, which is a sanding sponge, and I've sanded them down a little bit. So we have 3 of that size kind. I have one like this. This one is similar. It's almost the same, but it's a little different in height. So I have 2 of those. And then I have these, which there's 5 of those that are the same size, same shape. So I have those. And then I have this orphan child, very much orphan child. And this was a Carhartt sweatshirt or jacket or something. I don't know exactly. I don't remember. Anyway, because gesso is hard to get off your hands, I'm going to slip on a pair of gloves. Otherwise, I will have gesso all over my hands. Or then I'm going to have to go and try to get it off my hands. So we're going to put a second coat on this side. This one's had 2 coats, and it's not, you can still see some of the orange and the black, but I think it'll probably be all right. If it isn't, oh well. It's only one tag. If it was a bunch of tags, you know, if I had a series of these, then I would do something with them. Like, I don't know what, but I would do something with it. But it's not. It's just this one tag. So I could paint these with a brush. I started out doing them with a credit card, scraping the gesso on, and that was like going to take way too long. So I went to just using my finger. Of course, I didn't have a glove on, so it took me forever and a little bit to get the gesso off my hands. I could have used a brush, but gesso is also equally difficult to get out of a brush. And so we're just going to set that one aside, and it may or may not get dry today, but I just wanted you to see the process of, you know, what I was doing. Now, these tags all have holes in them, but I may punch a different hole, so I don't really care if that gets covered up. Okay? All right. Hey, Brenda, good to see you. So I've wiped off these gloves. I'm just going to set them to the side because we may use those again. So I'm going to just move this over here. It's a pretty thick coat of gesso, so it might or might not come clean or dry in time. Thinking about cleaning up, and that's what came out of my mouth. Okay, here is said transformed potato. This is a spoon, in case you weren't here Monday night when we did this. This was a vintage spoon pincushion. It was a little kit. It had the piece of fabric in it the pincushion is made out of. The instructions are fine. You do kind of have to read between the lines a little bit. But, you know, it's okay. And so I made the pincushion. This is the fabric inside, the potato colored fabric. And then I thought that, oh, maybe I'll go ahead and embroider something on it. And then I decided, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. Be honest with you guys. I didn't have it in me. I just did not have it in me to have to do that. It has been a weird month for me. I think that there's, you know, and you guys have been with me on this journey all the way through, many of you. And I think it just finally got to be too much this month. And yeah, so I just have been hanging on, but there are moments when I don't hang on very well. And yeah, so it's just, I'm getting, you know, trying to just do what has to be done. Has been doing things by rote, like making the Christmas cards was great. That worked really well. But going shopping, trying to decorate the house, trying to, you know, it's like, can't do that. And then I would just get immobilized, you know. So, c'est la vie. Anyway. Ah, thanks, Starla. I'll take that. I'm fine. You know, I really am okay. It's just been really slow going, you know, weirdly slow going. So, anyway. Oops, I just set that right in that wet tag. That was super smart. That's all right. It's going to get covered up anyway. Okay. I don't even know what I was telling you, to be quite honest. Oh, I didn't have it in me to do the embroidery on this little pincushion. So I got out. I found my bag of lace stuff. And so I got it out and I started just playing with laces to see if any of the laces that I had would work. And this is a piece of old lace. I think it might have been part of a collar or something. Anyway, I laid it over the said pincushion and started playing with it. I had to take 4 little darts in it. So up here and down here, but I think I managed to camouflage them okay, so you can't really tell. So the actual lace is not stitched down up here. There's some stitching in the little dart areas. And I used a combination of this, on this project, I used a combination of glue and stitching. So this lace was a flat lace. This piece was a flat lace. So I gathered it by hand until I had it the right amount to make an oval, a circle that I then stretched into an oval to put it around this pincushion so that I could hide the join of the spoon, which is back here. I could hide the bowl of the spoon and the edge of the pincushion. So that's what that lace is there for. And then this was already on there. This piece was already on there. And so I just decided to leave it. I added a few more little spots of glue, but I left a lot of it loose. Just because I liked the fact that it had some texture, you know. And so I could glue these together, but I like it. I really like it just being, you know, on its own. And then these little guys, these little flower forms, that was a scrap that was in my lace box or bag. And there were exactly 7 little flowers that were part of a bigger piece of lace. So I cut the 7 little flowers out. I used pins because it's a pin cushion. And I just by eye made 7, you know, sort of equally spaced. I did not measure anything. Equally spaced pins around the pincushion just to again to give it a little more interest, and it saved embroidering. And then I just glued them right to the edge. So there is glue around the edges of the pincushion, but the pincushion itself is still usable. Okay. Hey, Jan. Good to see you. And so that is the transformation of Mr. Potato Head into a pincushion. And I actually like it a lot. Oh, hello, Mr. Bear and your bean juice. Okay, anybody else that I need to... Hi, Terry. Anybody else that I missed saying hello to? I'm glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so there you go. All right, what is the... Did I manage... Okay, hold on a minute. My computer's being on right. There we go. Did I manage to transform the potato into something that you think is acceptable? I like it. Hello, Quilted Jewels. Good to see you. I forgot who you are. Can you remind me? Anyway, I like it. And it does sit really well. If you just put it on the surface, it doesn't try to turn over. It sits nice and flat, even though the bowl of the spoon is oval. It sits nice and flat, and I think that must be because some of it comes from that doily on the back. Plus, it doesn't make noise when you set it down, and I like that. So it sits nice and flat and quietly. Brenda likes it. Okay, good. Good. All right, there you go. That's a pincushion in a spoon. Julia. Okay. Thanks for reminding me. Okay. It's not my idea, but I thought it was a good one. When I saw it in the store that we went to, this has been months ago, I thought, that is such a good idea. Okay. So let's talk about these tags. Because we've got to do something, we had to do something simple that we can do in kind of in one go, something that would be easy. And so these are just clothing tags. And clothing tags, I did nothing to them. Well, I won't say that. On some of these, some of the ones, not these are inexpensive clothing, but on some of these, like this is Coliseum, this came from one of the sporting goods stores, and so these two came from sporting goods stores. These were clothing tags, and they didn't have anything real special on them. But on the ones that sometimes they stick, they have to have those theft-proof devices on them. So they'll be either a part of the tag or it's a sticker on the tag, and then they put a price tag over it. And it's very sticky, but it makes a really uneven surface. If you'll use this product called Undo, sometimes they'll peel off, but not very often because they don't want those things to peel off. So if you use the product called Undo, it removes self-adhesive stickers, tapes, labels, adhesive residue, gum, lip balm, crayon, tar, and grease. The only one of these that I use it for is the self-adhesive labels. Now, if you have a label that has water-soluble adhesive, the kind you lick, that kind of adhesive, it has no effect on that whatsoever. If it's the kind that peels, peel and stick kind of thing, like stamps, for example, it's that kind of, the ones you peel off and stick on. That kind of adhesive, the Undo works really well for that. And what it does is it, I want to say it disables the adhesive. That's not the right word. It deactivates the adhesive. And it sometimes takes a lot of the Undo to, if you have a big label, it's going to go through a lot of Undo. And I forgot what the Undo is. It seems like it's the solvent for, it's a solvent. Yes, the glue that it's the solvent for has totally escaped me. Anyway, somebody in the chat will probably know. But anyway, you start it, drip a little bit of it on the tag. If I'd not taken them all off, I could have shown you. But if you drip a little bit of it along the edge, then it will start lifting. And so you sometimes have to keep, you lift and you keep putting some of the Undo under it. It will deactivate that adhesive and you can get it off. And most of the time you can get it off totally. Not always, but most of the time. The thing that is nice about it, if you use it on like a stamp, like a postage stamp, it doesn't, the adhesive will reactivate and you can still use it. Now, most of the time I will put a little glue stick or something on it just to make sure if I'm doing it on a stamp, like if you stick it on the wrong thing, or if it's a stamp that has gone through the mail and they didn't cancel it, you can get it off the envelope. But the adhesive is not deactivated permanently. It is only deactivated for a period of time. But the adhesive usually sticks to the item that it's on, like the tag or the postage stamp. It doesn't remain on the thing it's stuck to. Hopefully that makes sense. And then you can reuse the thing like a postage stamp, or you got to know where you put this wad of sticky stuff because it is going to drive you crazy. So have a place that you're going to get rid of the sticky junk, because that's the problem that I had with these, because I wasn't thinking about where was I going to put those things when I got done. Anyway, okay. So the next thing that I did is, after I got the tags off of them, is I just used gesso. This is the one I had that I got a hold of first, and that's the one I used. And I already told you I did it with my fingers. I tried with a credit card, but I was having, I needed to get the job done quicker than the card was letting me do it. And so I just ended up using my fingers. You can see my fingerprints in there. This one is the one that we just did, that we just gessoed, and it's still pretty cool to the touch. But this one is orange. You can see it. It's a Carhartt tag, so it's orange. That's one of their colors. And so the gesso is, if I wanted to completely get rid of that orange and the black logo, I would have to really work on that a few more coats. I'm not going to do that. I'd be better off to just cut a new tag. I'm not going to do that. So it's all good. Hello, Dorothy. Good to see you. So we'll let this one sit a little bit longer. Once it was dry, and I did gesso both sides. Once it was dry, this is a sanding sponge. If you've never heard of that, that's what this is. I like it because it's flat. You can put it on a surface and you can easily sand with it. These come in different grits. I learned about these from Claus Mann, who was my husband, and who did woodworking and built houses and remodeled things and all of that. And what's nice about a sanding sponge, because it is soft, you can sand edges, you can sand all kinds of stuff. They do come in different grits, and they're handy. They are handy to have. Okay, so that caught you up as to where we are. So these are the tags. They all have holes in them because they are tags. I probably will, it just depends. I may try and save the holes, and then again, I may just punch a new hole if it, because it's going to get covered up. Okay? All right. So what we have here is 3 different Christmas napkins. And so we are going to play with Christmas napkins, matte medium, prepared tags, and we're going to see what happens. So back to my Cruddy nonstick mat. So this is meant to be a quick kind of project. We'll see how quick it is. We don't know. But the napkins that I have, there is this one, which is Snow People. And on this particular napkin, you get 4 sets on one napkin. You also get greenery and that kind of stuff. So, that's good. This one I got yesterday. I saw it someplace, I think in the grocery store. And I'm a sucker for poinsettias. I do like poinsettias. I like to draw them. I like to paint them. I like to use them. Do you think the sanding thing would work on the edge of watercolor paper to smooth it? If you were going to use it on the edge of watercolor paper, I would sand at a 45-degree angle like this. So this is let's say that's the surface you were going to paint on. I would do it like this. And do it on a scrap to see if you like the effect. But it's not going to totally smooth it. But I think it would help take off some of the chunks. There you go. Purple Nana Linda told you what her suggestion was, so that's great. Okay, so, and then I have this one, Fa La 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 La. This is the one I laid in the wet gesso on that tag a minute ago. So what we're going to do is pull the backing off. And there are sometimes 2 and sometimes 3 layers of backing on the paper napkin. And there's all kinds of ways to get this off, and it's the kind of thing that you should do before you get on camera, which of course I did not do. Anyway, we're going to see if we can get it to come loose. They press these around the edges, to kind of bond them together. So sometimes it takes a minute to get them started. And then you kind of have to look at it and determine if how many plies they are. Sometimes they'll say them on the back of the package. 2 ply. Excellent. So we only have to take off 1 piece of the backing paper. Then you can use this for other things if you want it, or you can be like me and throw it away most of the time. Okay, this one is probably 2-ply as well. Yeah, came from the same place, the same store. So this is a 2-ply napkin also. Once you get it started, usually they come apart fairly easily. The trick is you got to get it started and separate the 2 plies. And everybody has their method of pulling them apart. And sometimes they're just a total pain in the you know what. It wants to come apart. It really does. It's just being kind of ornery. Once you get it going, you got it. The reason for doing the white gesso over the tags is because they have all the writing, and that helps to block the writing, and it also helps you get the clearest color from the napkin on your tag, okay, by having white behind it. All right, let us see if we can get, I think this is another 2-ply. Let's see if we can get it. So, how are you all doing and handling the, oh, this one came much easier. How are you guys doing with the crazy holiday season? Are you doing okay? Are you being extra creative? Or are you being not creative? Holidays can be real tricky business for people. Sometimes. All right, let's take okay, this one, we're going to see if we can make this happen, okay? We'll play with this and we'll just kind of see what happens. Okay, this is matte medium. This one happens to be Liquitex. I don't really know why. But we're going to just put some there and then hope I don't set something in it, which could happen. It could. All right, we're going to put matte medium on the surface of the tag. Also, matte medium, I'll probably have to put another coat on. Matte medium is super hard to get off your hands sometimes, so if you have something like gloves in a bottle, which is this, or other skin protectant, if you put this on your fingers, it acts as a skin barrier, and it does help to release stuff like gesso and matte medium and paint and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to stick some on since I've already made a mess out of things today. Okay, so I'm going to put a little more matte medium on here. A nice coat. And then I'm going to see if I can. Okay, I think I can see it from the back side. Here, let's do this one over here. Let's it's a little bit doing it by the kind of the seat of your pants a little bit, because you kind of have to just stick it where you think it's going to work. When you're trying to isolate something, stick it where you think it's going to work. Let's see if we can catch her, maybe. Then you want to add another coat of gesso, and some of this tag is going to show through this one, so you either have to be okay with that, or you'll have to put some paint or some stamping or something on top of it. Now, once that paper napkin gets wet, it becomes very fragile, and some adhesives are better with napkin art or using napkins than others. And the best one that I am aware of is Perfect PPA. This one. This was developed specifically to use with paper napkins. It is a really good adhesive, but of course I didn't get that out till just right now. So I'm just going to chunk this out, and then I'm going to just let it sit. But you need the adhesive, the matte medium or whatever you're using needs to be under the napkin and on top of it. Okay? And there is some game of chance as you're doing this, because sometimes it works really well, and sometimes sometimes you go, wow, that is ugly. So then you can start over. All right, let me see if I can find, here's a spot, here's a mat or a board. So I'm going to transfer these onto this messy looking board, okay, just like so. I have another board here, but I don't know quite what I did with it. Anyway, okay, let's see if we can do some of these poinsettias. So I'm just going to, again, turn this over. We've already removed the, yes, we've already removed the backing. I'm going to put a coat of the matte medium on the tag, and then I'm going to just stick it down. We'll do more with it here in a minute, and let's do another one. I debated a lot about what I was going to do on these tags. I knew I was going to do something with these tags today, and I debated quite a bit about what I was going to do. And I thought about carving a stamp, and I thought about doing all kinds of different things to recycle these tags, and I thought, it is a bloomin' garment tag. I am not going to spend a ton of time carving a stamp and doing all that kind of stuff. I do have some stamps I've already carved, so I could use those, but I thought, no, the simplest thing to do, paper napkin. And most of us have paper napkins. You know my propensity, because I've told you before, of when I go to a party or to whatever where they have nice napkins, I always take another one. So I have one to use to wipe my mouth, and then one to use in my art or journals or whatever. All right, so we're just going to cut this apart. You can also do the same thing. You can cut it apart using a damp paintbrush. In case you haven't seen that before, I will show you what I'm talking about. So just use some water, and you could cut out, isolate what it is you want to cut, and then just use your water line to effectively water cut with your paintbrush. So instead of having a sharp line, you will now have a feathered edge. So that's another way you can cut out. Okay. All right. So we have 2 poinsettias over there. So we'll just play with this a little bit and see what we like, and then we'll do some more. Okay. What did Dorothy say? Oh, everybody's sick. Aw. Oh, that's too bad, Dorothy. That is too bad. There is nothing like, there really isn't anything quite like being sick at the holidays. It is, I mean, the holidays are unique in and of themselves, but then getting sick on top of it is no fun. Okay, I'm going to stay away from this edge. There's texture on that edge, and so I'm going to stay away from that, and we'll see if this works. I mean, the thing is, they're just tags, and so if you want to, whatever you want to do with these, it's just a good way to recycle. But whatever you want to do, let's see, what do we want to do here? There's no right or wrong, okay? That is the point. There's nothing right or wrong about how you do these. You just do them. And when the tag is wet, it's just like the napkin. It is fragile. Not as fragile as a napkin, obviously, but it is kind of a little bit flimsy, let's say. Once it dries out, it regains its integrity. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just cut this one out. Since I got that one wet, we're just going to cut it out. And set it aside. And do another one. Sometimes the edges of your tags will, come unstuck a little bit. So sometimes I wait and re-stick them down later, or sometimes I can re-stick them as I'm doing them. Okay, so there's that one. All right, let's do another one. Let's grab... how about this? Let's let the pink. Let's let the pink be the... And if we get some of this textured border, oh well. So I'm going to put the matte medium on the tag. Like so. You can always work with gloves if you want to. Sometimes I can stand the work with the gloves and sometimes I can't, Okay, let's do... I don't think that's straight. If it's not super straight, oh well, we'll wish it was, right? Yeah, that one looks weird. Fa la. So we'll have to work on that a little bit. But you do need to have the adhesive beneath and above, so above and below your napkin or whatever else you might have been using. If you were using magazine images, they wouldn't even have to be Christmassy. But you need to have the adhesive above and below. Okay, so we have that. Let's do one that is, we have 7 more tags, including the one that, this one that's nice and orange. What if we, let's see if we can put those red dots right down the middle just for something different. Do you guys make your tags, or do you use tags, or what do you do? Okay, I have no guarantee of this being right down the middle. We're just going to kind of go for it. Yeah, it's really tough when you're dealing with holiday stuff and people are sick, and it goes through families. Sometimes it goes through families like lightning. Dorothy, are you sick too, or are you doing okay? Joan makes her tags. I bet you do, Joan. Joan makes wonderful things. I bet your tags are even a work of art. Her cards are her cards are just amazing. Okay, let's use this tag or this napkin. And let's use some of this greenery. Nobody said that we couldn't. No, we don't really want to get the snow person's tummy there. Not really. Okay, I don't think I want to do that. Let's see. All right, I'm going to go back to this, which is what I wanted to do to begin with. I'm going to go back and use this one, this piece of greenery right here, and let's see what happens. You know, if you do something and you don't like it, you can either paint over it, or you go, well, that was a bonus tag anyway, because it's already served its purpose, and that was to have the price on whatever it was. And so it's a bonus thing, and big deal, get rid of it, throw it away. Okay, now sometimes you get pieces and parts of images that maybe you don't want to have on your tag. Like up here I've got an earmuff, so I may have to do something about that. Okay, so we're gonna put that one aside, and we'll see what happens, like I said. And then what about this is too light. Let's go back to this poinsettia. One of my friends and I years ago had a real argument because she was determined that she said that that the word was pronounced poinsettia. I'm like, it is not. She and her husband were both from Michigan. I don't know if that's a Michigan thing. Poinsettia? I don't think so. My dad would not have agreed with that. Okay, so There are some words like that that, have unique pronunciations. I think sometimes it's regional. But I said, have you looked at the spelling of the word poinsettia? And she said, well, of course. And I said, well, how do you spell it? So she spelled it for me, and I'm like, yep, poinsettia. Just like I said. She's like, no, it's not. It's poinsettia. I'm like, no, it's not. How in the world do you come up with poinsettia? Anyway, it was all in good fun. We all have our things, don't we? So what kind of tags are you making, Joan? I'm curious about that. Alrighty, and then we have this one. Let's see, what would happen if we just made a striped tag like this? I wonder what would happen. Or like this. That would be better, right? And since I only have a partial tag there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We could do it this way. Does not matter. It's just a little tag. Okay, let's see. This one may look just too weird for words, and so it's okay. Okay. This one reminds me of when you don't want to listen to somebody and you stick your fingers in your ear and you go la 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 la. That's what that reminds me of. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. 30 tags. Wow. You're from Michigan, you've never heard it called that? I just think it was a weird family thing is what I think it was. That's what I think. Okay, let us see. What else do we have? This is that one that's orange. But it's long, so let's see if we can put her on there. But that is how they pronounced it in their family. It's probably just a family thing. All right, let's see if we can. Put this one on here. She's kind of a cute snow person. These were very inexpensive napkins from the grocery store. Well, they were probably expensive by, like, if you're going to go buy plain napkins, these are probably expensive, but I didn't think they were too bad. They were like 50% off or something of the regular price, so I didn't think they were bad. Okay. All right, so we'll let that one sit and dry. All right, did I get all of them? I did. Okay, good. So we're gonna, I don't know if I can get this open. If I can, we'll, there we go. Just pick up what I can of the matte medium and stick it back in the bottle. I'm gonna wipe it off, and since I scraped sticky stuff all over it, this is what I do. Bye, Julia. Thanks for hanging out with us. Poinsettia. There you go, Dorothy. So I use Vaseline and put it on the threads of the bottle, and then that will let you open that bottle again easily without having to bang it and carry on, bang it on the table and all that kind of stuff. Okay, let me see if I can get most of this. Kind of get some of it off my fingers. It will come off a lot more easily though, since I put that wherever I stuck it. Here, the gloves in the bottle. If you put that on and it's a shielding lotion or protectant, skin protectant, it does not keep stuff from penetrating your skin. So, you know, if you're using something that's really toxic, then you're going to need to use something that's better than that. However, it does a pretty good job of helping paint and stuff like that, and glues and things come off your skin. Okay, there we go. Any questions so far? That was really tough. I'm just using a credit card and kind of going over my mat. It helps to get rid of a lot of the junk that's been left behind. If, however, you have anything bumpy under your mat and you're scraping on it, it will tend to mar the surface of your mat. So do be a little bit careful when you do that. Because this mat is so crappy, it doesn't really matter if I mar it or not. Okay. It's fairly smooth. All right. Okay, so now let's look at, this is our assortment of tags here. So I'm going to get my heat gun and we're going to dry these a little bit, and then let's see how much we can do. I'm trying to get my heat tool unhooked. Here we go. Unhooked from my cart. Did not want to let go. And now it's not plugged in. Okay, hold on 1 second. Oh, it was plugged in. I just didn't have the switch on. Okay, here we go. So let's give it a little shot of heat. And the back side, you can still read all the information, so we'll do something on the back. But we're going to put the napkins on first, which could be backwards to what we should do, but guess what? We don't care. I have all kinds of jelly print papers and paste papers. and we may use some of those for the back. I think they'll be good when they're dry too, Joan. So, does anybody have plans that they want to talk about Christmas or New Year's, or anything that you plan to do in the new year, or any of that kind of thing? Anything you want to share? You're welcome to do that here. I always like the new year. I like the new year really well. That is my favorite. I have to say, I think the new year, not necessarily New Year's Day, but the new year is energizing for me. Some people don't find it energizing or pleasant necessarily, or anything to be excited about. I find it very energizing and very much a renewal kind of time for me. I really enjoy New Year. I enjoy Christmas. It's just sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot. Depends on a lot of factors, but sometimes it's a lot. I like the meaning of Christmas for me. I don't enjoy the craziness that has been attached to it. So for me, that's where it gets to be a little sticky, and then you end up, sometimes we assign meaning to dates that when the date shows up, then that can trigger things, can trigger the memory. But it's the meaning, we assign the meaning to the dates, and it's not always easy to admit that. Dorothy loves Christmas and Easter for what they represent. The commercial part of Christmas isn't healthy or fun. I just like spending time with my daughter. Yeah, agree. Okay, these aren't going to be totally dry, but we're going to cut them out, take a look at them, and then we're going to put something on the back of them. And then I thought we might even doodle a little on top of them with some paint pens, since I have those out on my desk or close by. Okay. So kind of dry. Bye, Starla. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. I hope you feel pretty good as you can during Christmas. Okay, so let's come over here and let's, I'm going to get close to the edge of my tags. Now, in a perfect world, you would let these totally dry, okay? We all know that in the world of streaming on YouTube live, there is no perfect world. All right, let me do this to most of them. Got it, Linda. Got it. Everybody does things differently. Sorry about the ugliness of this. It is ugly. I don't know what I did with my other mat. Maybe it's the other side of this. Let me see. Nope. I have another one of these, another mat someplace that looks much better, but I don't know what I did with it. It must be hanging out. It's hanging out here somewhere. So sorry about the ugliness. It is what it is. Oh well, we'll call it a creative background, okay? Creative background. Okay. Voila. Voila. La la la. Okay. And there's a part of a snowman hanging out here. We'll have to do something there. I'm not sure what we'll do there, but we'll do something. We'll add something there. Listen, if I can make something out of a potato-looking pincushion, I surely can make something out of that. You think? Still makes me laugh. So I'm just rough cutting these out. And then we have these two that we put to begin with. So we're just going to rough cut those. From tomorrow until probably the 5th of January, I will not be here. So if you wonder what happened to me, it's that I'm taking a couple of weeks and not being here. Because I kind of need to regroup myself, and we've got some family stuff going on. So you guys are going to... You're going to have to just entertain yourselves or find one of the other myriad of YouTubers that are out there that do creative things and have a good time until I get back. And then I'll be anxious to hear what you've been doing and what kinds of creative goody things you've been getting into. Peace and quiet is a really good thing. I got almost all the Christmas cards assembled. I have a few that are yet to be assembled if we need them. Okay, so before I get too wild on this one right here, I'm going to see what I can do on this one. Let's see what we can do. I don't know. I actually have some Christmas stickers. I may just do that instead. Maybe just put some Christmas stickers over this. I've got a whole bunch of those. Let's try that. Okay. This sanding sponge also is good for getting rid of the edges. It's better if your paper is totally dry, which mine is not. So sometimes you have to be a little patient. When you're getting the shape of your tag, you might have to be a little bit patient. But it does give you a nice edge when you do that. Now, the ones that get to be trickier are the ones like this. You may have to cut those. But these that are just pretty straight edges, easy peasy. But I will tell you that once your paper, the tag and the surface are absolutely completely dry, this is a cinch to do. But when they're a little damp, which is what this is, it is a bigger challenge, and you just kind of have to take it a little bit slow. We have a young lady who's going to be staying at the house to take care of all the cats and to try to keep the possums and the raccoons from bothering the cats, because we don't have any dogs right now, and so that's one of the big benefits those dogs provided, and I didn't even realize it. It's keeping the wildlife at bay. Anyway, she's staying here while we're out of town, and she came out the other day and she had one hand all bandaged up. I mean, real bandaged up, like up from her fingertips all the way up to like that. And I'm like, what in the world happened? And somehow she took her, I think she said she took her dog for a walk, and her dog somehow got her tangled up in the leash and caught her pinky finger, and she ended up having to have surgery for that finger. And I'm like, are you going to be able to do this with these cats and stuff? It's not like she has to walk dogs, so that's a good thing. That's not too bad having a snow person over here. But I think a few stickers will help that later. Did I go away? You think you might not survive? I think you will, Dorothy. I really do. I like that. That's okay. That's okay. All right, let's do this one. This one's kind of wet still. Maybe one of these. Yeah, that one's kind of wet. Let's see if we can get this one. I know. If life gets really crazy, I'll have to stream from where we are. However, don't think the internet is enough to be able to do it. So we may just all have to survive until I get back. Anyway, so she's, bless her heart, she is going to have a challenge. Fortunately, she is kind of ambidextrous, and so that was good. Good for her. Poor thing. And she had a picture or a video, I don't know which it was, and this finger just wouldn't even move. All her other fingers moved. This one was just straight. She had no ability to move her finger. Okay, I think up here, I'm just going to go ahead and cut around this, the shape of this tag, and then I will sand it a little bit just to kind of blend the napkin to the tag, because that's another thing that doing this with the sanding does. It just sort of blends those edges together, and that really is a good It's a good technique for making that happen. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of sneak around those edges. Then if you have any loose bits around the edges, then either use your art glitter glue or use a glue stick or use some tacky glue. So just check things like that. Can you see that? And I usually just use a little glue stick. Sometimes I'll use it. If I have a bunch of things, I'll use a little tacky glue and a toothpick or a pin. So just go around, I just go around and just check and add a little glue and just smooth it back down. Okay, and there you have it. And that one looks like there is a little the other thing that the sanding sponge can do, because you have corners on it, it will let you kind of get down into those little deep corners. That maybe it's kind of hard to get into with your points of your scissors. Okay. So there you go. There's one. And he's kind of cute. Even with the writing in the background, I think he's cute. So then what I'll do is I'll put some ink around the edges of it, and he'll be sweet. He'll be pretty sweet. Let's try this one. Hey, Barbara Clark. Oh, that's all right. You are not late. You are doing fine. I know. Sometimes you just got to take care of yourself, don't you? We'll see what this one looks like once we get her sanded, as to whether we have to do something about the writing in her tummy. I don't think it's that bad, honestly. It just looks like another layer. So I'm thinking it's not bad. Now, as with anything, you can spend as much time doing this stuff as you want to. These also make really cute additions to a journal. So you've recycled something and you've added something into your journal that nobody else has. Those kinds of things are good to have also. If you have any questions or comments, be sure you put them in all caps. Let me just see if I can kind of get around the edge of this tag, and then I'll finish it with the sanding block. But the sanding block I find easiest to use on straight runs, as opposed to these little complicated curved shapes. Then you can come back and refine them with the sanding sponge or a nail file. One of those nail files for fake nails works well. Now, I'm not trying to start you on a new obsession, of that being keeping all your clothing tags, but they do make for nice, they do make for some nice bases. Don't have to have a hole in the tag, but if you want one, now's the time to put it in there, because if you don't, I can guarantee you that you will lose it. But you can always repunch it with a little bigger punch. You can always do that. Okay, so we have those. Let's see if we can do, let's do this poinsettia one. Or as my friends used to say, the poinsettia one. Now see, this tag is drier, and so it's the paper tag base is stiffer, so it's much easier to sand against. When it's not real dry, that's when you gotta kind of hang on to the edge. Be careful with your edge, because you can kind of mess up your tag if you're not pretty careful with it. And it does make some kind of ugly sanding dust. So don't do this with your best clothes on. And if you're really prone to react to dust, it might not be your best thing to do. Okay, so there's the poinsettia. That's a nice tag. Okay. Now, was this the one? No. One of these is that Carhartt tag. I don't know which one it was now. Was it this one? It was this one. Had that orange base. Let's sand her up and see. This one is not dry much at all. So, bless her heart. Gotta go a little bit careful with this one, because it is very damp. As long as you support the edge, like my fingers are really close to the edge here, you can get away with sanding it usually when it's kind of still pretty damp. Barbara Clark, how is Lisa doing? I haven't seen her for a long time. Are you still in contact with her? I think of her this time of year for sure. I never can remember which is the the most coarse side of this sponge. You haven't talked to her recently either. Yeah. You know, sometimes life just gets overwhelming enough for people. I'm not saying that that's what's going on with Lisa at all, but sometimes it just gets overwhelming enough that you just got to kind of let go of some of the stuff that you might have been doing and just take a break. Okay, that is that Carhartt tag, which was bright orange. You can see it back here, some of it, but I've gessoed it a couple of times, so it's not so orange. I think she's real cute. She turned out way better than I thought. Okay, let's try some of the fa la la tags, shall we? Sharon got a great card of goodies. Oh, nice. That's nice. Sharon does nice. Everybody, honestly, does a great job of mailing things. Once they start, it's a fun thing to do, to mail things to other people if you have time and if you have I mean, I'm telling you, the cost of postage right now is, I'm sure it won't ever go back down, but for the cost of the postage, and I have to say, I usually am a fairly, at least a somewhat positive person. Well, I am here to tell you the service from the USPS right now is horrible. I sent a box 125 miles from me. Priority mail. Expected it to be there. A projected delivery was on the 10th or 11th of December. It arrived there today, 125 miles away. I've been to that town twice since I mailed it. I could have just delivered it myself. And it was not cheap, you know. Priority mail is not the cheapest thing, and it used to be a really good service. I'm telling you what, I don't know what is going on with the post office, and quite frankly, I don't care. I'm not intending to start a discussion about the whys and wherefores, and because that usually leads into places I don't want to go. But goodness sakes, you talk about, I don't know why that has a dot on it. Anyway, I was just, and I sent a card to my granddaughter from Missouri to Alabama, which should have been delivered. Now, it just went first class mail. Should have been delivered a week and a half ago. Still isn't there. And Elton he sent, it was something from the office, sent it on the 26th of November, certified mail, and it still isn't there. Certified mail. Yeah. Crazy. So I don't know what their deal is. Anyway, that's not too bad, a little tag. It gives you the idea of fa la la la. Yeah, gives you the idea, right? I don't know why my voice is croaky today, but it is. All right, let's do these. Yeah, I was thinking about Kathy the other day, too. Sometimes people just, you know, they have stuff go on and they just kind of take a break for a while, or they disappear for a while, or whatever, and boy, oh boy. When you watch them, or you're used to communicating with them and they disappear, that's hard. Yeah. This one with the fa la 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 has so many options, you know, so many options from the same napkin, right? Kind of fun. Okay. So if you guys want to hang out, we will look at the jelly prints and things that I have, and we'll put something on the back of these to see if we can get it to kind of go with the fronts. I may not actually get the doodling part of this done that I thought I might. This one is kind of damp still, so it's not cooperating with me as well. There we go. So I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks while I'm gone. I hope you are very creative and have lots of inspiring things to share when I get back on the air. I hope to be back on the air on January 5th. Which is a Monday. That's my plan. I don't know for sure, but that's my plan. I don't know if you guys can see this from your vantage point, but do you see what a nice edge you get? I'm hoping you can see it. This is not so nice, but you can always just sand it again. You just get the nicest edge when you sand that, and as opposed to cutting it. And you can do the same thing with tissue paper or deli wrap or let's see, what is that? The lightweight paper that you jelly print on. The name is out of my head at the moment. I think it's by Yasutomo. Anyway, all of those you can do the same thing. Now with varying degrees of ease, depending on the how dry your base layer is. Some of those you have to really let them dry, and then you can sand them off easily. Or another thing you can do, like I did to the top here, and you can cut around it with scissors pretty close, and then finish it by using a sanding tool of some kind and blend those edges down using the sanding tool, whether it's a sponge or a sanding block or a piece of wood with the sandpaper wrapped around it, or a nail file. You can do some really nice things sanding in a variety of ways. But don't use steel wool. Steel wool will not work like this, so don't try that. Okay, so let's do what I just told you, which is I just get as close to the edge as I can with scissors. And once you've got it trimmed out, then just use your sanding block or your nail file or whatever you're using. But you always want to sand down, not up. You want to sand down or across. If you sand up, if this paper is wet at all, it's going to rip or pull up. Okay. That one looks pretty good. Yep. And two more. I do like these with the poinsettias on them. Okay, see how that didn't stick? This is where you use your glue stick or a little bit of your art glitter glue or a little bit of your tacky glue or whatever, and it just takes just a tiny little bit and it'll stick that right back down. So have you guys watched any good movies this month? I'm always interested in a good movie or a good series to watch. I like a series, except it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like reading a fiction book. Sometimes I get too involved in the series or the fiction book and I can't leave it alone. Okay, I'll try not to spend too much time on this. This is where I can get hung up on the details on stuff. All right, it's a tag, Barb. It's just a tag. Don't worry about it. Isn't that pretty? I think that is luscious. Okay, one more. This is the last one. You haven't found a great series in way too long. Oh, Brenda. Third, Knives Out. What is Knives Out? I don't know what that is. This is a cooking show. I love the glass blowing one. I like all of those. Honestly, I like the competition shows. I enjoy seeing what people make. I'm glad, and I'm also very glad it's not me, that I'm not there doing that under pressure, whatever it is. Knives Out, it's a movie. Oh, okay. On Netflix or what? Knives Out. Okay. So are there several of those since you said it was the third one? Okay, so there's several of them then. Trying to just trim this up just a little bit, and then I will finish sanding. Looks pretty good, pretty good. Okay. And then let's ink these real quick. And if I have to, I can come back and fix any little edges that have come loose later. So there's what we have so far. Okay. Now there is sanding dust on my surface here, but we'll just pretend we didn't see it. We'll pretend we didn't know it was there. I suppose what I should do is clean it up, though, right? I should. Since I have a baby wipe right here, we'll just do it. Good enough. Good enough. The one thing about this cruddy surface is that it keeps the camera focusing, doesn't it? So that's good. Okay, I'm just going to use blue, which may be the unconventional color to use, but it's what I have with the sponge with it. And besides that, I think it looks good with the snowy kind of tags. I think it gives it a good winter vibe. I think she's cute. All right, we'll do him. Shadowlands. Seems like I read that book. Did I read the book or did I see the movie? That's not a new movie, is it? Seems like I saw that. There he is. The ink around the edges of things, I think, just really helps. I think it just really helps. It helps frame it. It helps finish it. It helps blend the image kind of to the background onto the tag. And I find that I like blue. I used to use black all the time. And I find that I really like the cobalt. You can't see it anymore much, but it's cobalt blue. That's the one that I really like for most anything. You know, sometimes people use one of the brown inks, whether it's vintage photo or walnut stain or whatever. That's the one, you know, or what's the other one? Brush corduroy. That was a favorite of people. Or gathered twigs. Some people like gray, you know, like, I don't know, isn't there a smoky campfire or something like that? Well, that one didn't stick. We're going to fix that right now. Sometimes if you don't fix it when you see it, sometimes you can accidentally rip it back. There you go. Okay, that's better. Anyway, I tend to like the cobalt blue around the edges the most. Personal preference. Now, what I think would be cute with these on this side is just to use some of the paint pens and just doodle on them. For example, this one's not real dry, but we'll see. Okay, so things like adding just little bits of gold. See the gold dots up there? I have gold paint pens in different nib sizes. Sometimes I wander off the lines, and then I'm like, how come you can't stay on the line, girl? Okay, and then maybe maybe up here. See if I can keep my hand out of it. I mean, anybody can doodle a dot if you've got a paint pen. Now, if I wasn't trying to do this and keep my head out of the camera, I would do a better job, but you know, it's a choice of either you get to kind of see what I'm doing or I get to kind of see what I'm doing. So I've decided to let you see what I'm doing, but then that requires you to be tolerant of my inability to have my nose down on top of this, which is what I really want to do, to be able to see. So just follow the whatever the paper suggests, the paper napkin. Just follow what it suggests. Okay? So then if we tilt it, then you can see the sparkle in it. There we go. See it? So it just gives it a little something extra. And if you want, yes. So you can just add some fa la 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 la's up there just for a little bit of whatever. So you can just add your own little bits and pieces of things to it, right? So that's kind of the idea. Okay, let's go on and ink up the rest of these real quick, and then we'll take a look at some jelly print papers or something to put on the back. So you don't have, I mean, if you have the napkins, which I had bought to use for something else, and so I thought, well, I'll sacrifice a napkin for this, you know, why not? You saw how much I got out of, and I still have napkin left over. You have time in these, but you certainly, if you have the paper, or I mean, you could do wrapping paper with this. You could, especially a thin wrapping paper, but it wouldn't have to be. But you can use wrapping paper, you can use, like I said, magazine images, you can use tissue paper, you can use all different kinds of things. Just find something you have. You could put a base layer of tissue paper, solid color, and then stamp on top of it, you know? So that's another thing you could do. Come out where you can actually see these now. So you would have time, well, you still can't see them. You'd have time in them, but not a lot of expense. And it's a little handmade thing, and it's part of your, you know, it's part of your gift if you choose to do that. And besides that, they're just fun. They're just fun. I like the sparkle too. You know, you can't have too much gold sparkle. Now, I draw the line at glitter. That is not my thing. I'm not going to take the time to put glitter on these. Some people love glitter and they are expert at handling it. I'm neither one of those. I don't fall into either one of those camps of loving glitter or wanting to put it on, and I'm certainly not good at it. Yeah, I'm not good at that at all. That needs a little bit more work, but we'll give it a little more love after a while. For some reason, this particular tag right here, this one is still damp. I mean, like, quite damp. If you get little sponge poops, just use a lint roller and pick them up. It's easy to get them because your sponge, whatever kind of sponge you're using, it's easy for it to kind of start falling apart and making a mess. So just kind of watch it and then pick up the sponge crumbs, we'll call them. Pick them up with a lint roller. Works well. Works really well. Okay, so there are our little tags inked. Now, if you put paper on the other side and you ink it again, if you want to, then you just have a few considerations that you have to watch when you're inking when you're doing two-sided things like this. But they're two-sided because there was crap on both sides of the tag, right? Okay, so let me get, here's another, we have two more that I didn't do anything with. That's all right. I'll do these later, okay? Let me get some of my papers and we'll look at those, okay? All right, let's just kind of put these here. You can look a minute while I go over there and get some paper, okay? Be right back. Okay, here is a big old box full of jelly print papers. So let me move this mess off. Okay. And so let's see what we can find in here. I'm going to look for thinner papers. That's a good thin one. That one. A lot of these are cardstock. I'm going to see if I have what I have in the way of thinner. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. And that's a good one. Okay. Those are all paper weight. Now there's another one that's a good one. These are all ones that are kind of waiting for an additional layer of something. It's kind of a pretty one just for... Oh, some of these are ones that Amber sent me. That is why I was like, I'm not sure I recognize these. That's because Amber sent these to me. Okay, that's enough. Let's see. That's enough to make some good stuff with. Let's see what we can do, shall we? And I will not make you stay here by any means to finish up these tags entirely. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of coordinate what tag we want to go with what backing, shall we? Which one? This is the one that is the... Let's do this one first. This is the one that had the Carhartt orange thing on it. Let's use this one right here. Okay, let's just put these off to the side. We'll just do a couple of these and then we'll call it a day, okay? All right, so let's take this one and let's opt to put her right about in there. So I'm gonna just give myself a guideline because I gotta have some kind of guideline in order to okay, I think that'll work. Okay, so it's got to go that way. Let's just, for grins and giggles, let's just use a hefty old amount of glue stick. Now, if it doesn't stick for some reason, then I will come back and I will re-glue it later. Okay, here we go. We're going to put a big, nice layer of glue stick. And I got a little aggressive with the glue stick, so I'm going to have to pull it off the edges a little bit. Okay. That was a when I said a big layer, I was serious. That was a little too aggressive. Okay. So we're going to, some glue sticks are just a lot juicier than others, you know. That was one. That was a juicy one. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a sort of fresh piece of wax paper, and I'm just going to stick it under my surface I'm working on. Okay, let's do this one. And this one's kind of a blue-green. These all may be ones that Amber sent me. I don't remember for sure. Okay, we'll be a little less aggressive here with the glue stick. The Bishop's Wife. I think I watched that. Boy, that seems like one I watched a while back. The Bishop's Wife. I'm pretty sure I watched that. Good movies are always good to have movie recommendations or series recommendations. Okay, let's put this one here. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to put that the other way around under my little work surface. And let's do one more. Which one shall we do? How about him? I think that would be a good one for him. Some of these you can still see the tag information through the napkin, and you know what? I'm going to be okay with that. I am. I'm going to be okay with that. Now, if you want to put someone's name, if this is a tag for a gift, for example, if you want to put somebody's name on this, you're going to have to write it in paint pen. So it will show up, because paint pen is pigment, and pigment will show up on dark or light surface. So you might have to do that, or you could add write your information on a piece of white paper or cardstock, and then you could attach it to your tag. Hope that makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's see if the first one of these let me look and see if the first one is dry enough that we can cut it out. I think she probably is. Perfect world, you want to let these sit. You really want to let them sit. You want to let them dry until they're totally dry. But let's just do one. So you can get the idea. All right, I'm going to chunk it out. Saving as much of the paper in case there's something on the backside that's still usable. In this case, not much. So we'll just do this one tag, see if we can get it totally completed. And then we will call it a day since I am running over time. Okay, so there is our tag cut out. Whoop, a little close, sorry. And there's the back side. Okay. Now what I would do, again, I would let this totally dry. It's not, but we're just going to pretend. And then I would go back over it with the sanding sponge sanding at an angle, because now what I'm trying to do is just to blend these edges together. I'm not trying to cut the napkin away from the tag. I'm just blending the edge together. So I'm just coming around. So much better if you wait until the tag is dry and the paper is dry. Once you've got the sanding bit done, you can choose whether you want to go back over it with ink or not, but the sanded edge gives you a nice place for the ink to land. And I just think it really helps finish the edge of your whatever. It could be the tag, could be a journal, it could be whatever you like. I think that inking the edge just gives it that nice framed finished appearance. And then if you're going to use it as a tag, you've got to repunch your hole or repoke it. So I poked it to begin with, and so that allowed me to see the place for the hole. Okay, and so then she is ready, or it is ready, or he is ready, as the case may be, then to put a string through it or a fiber of some kind or whatever. But there is your tag done from used, leftover, rescued, recycled clothing tags. And that's that. Okay? All right. So that is going to be that. Maybe you got some ideas. I hope you did. For recycling stuff. These tags are also nice they don't have to be holiday themed, of course. You could do some really nice tags just with your jelly print papers, and then be able to use them in your journals and things like that. They're really nice for that as well. Okay, any questions or comments or anything? If not, you like it? Good. So here's our little one that we did all the way through. So back and front. And I think that this was just a cleanup print from the jelly plate. So, even your scraps of paper work really well for this. You could put wrapping paper on the back of these also. I mean, you could do any number of things that you want to. And this little one, which has the part of a snowman peeking, or snow lady or whatever, peeking over here at the edge, she's okay. Honestly, she's not bad. Or you can just add, like I said, some stickers or whatever else you want to add to it. Okay, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a peaceful and joy-filled season. And I will be back in a couple of weeks, hopefully on January 5th. That's what I'm shooting for, okay? Until then, I hope you are creative, and I hope that you find enjoyment through the holiday crazy. I will be back and see you when I see you, okay? And Happy New Year, and Happy Christmas, and Happy everything, and I will see you before long. Until then, bye for now.